All right, everyone. This is Kanal. I'm with my good dear friend, Chef Eric Paul. We definitely here to really spend some time with you guys just to talk about some of the things that Black men go through. And I think right now, with the ongoing health issues in our country, especially amongst Black men, there seem to be a growing cases of Black men dying at an early age. And I really want to take the time to talk about men's health, in particularly Black men health. During my travels, I've seen a lot of brothers doing their thing, and I'm truly happy for them. I like the fact that they're out there, they're traveling, they're experiencing something different outside of their city. However, one thing I'm starting to see more often is the obesity amongst Black men. I mean, beyond obesity, like I'm seeing guys wobbling through the airport. And again, I don't want to be the judgmental guy or the guy that's just staring, but majority of time, Eric, when I get on these planes, we're typically the biggest people on the plane,
Yeah.
and including myself. I mean, I'm a big guy, but I'm more of athletic big. But I'm seeing more guys just walking around with just poor health, and it kind of bothers me because I lost a few good friends over this. For instance, back in 2017, while I was in Rio, um, I actually knew a guy named Charles Tyler. And Charles Tyler actually was the guy that actually pioneered the whole Black man travel movement. He's the one that actually he created a podcast back then, back in 2014, that I remember starting listening to his podcast, that he wanted Black men to explore their options. And that's what he did. He actually created that movement, and Black men started traveling to Brazil, Dominican Republic, Colombia, Europe, and other countries. And the thing is, while I was in Rio, Charles Tyler ended up getting a heart attack while I was there, and they had to rush him to the hospital, where 2 days later he passed away. And I think at the time Charles Tyler was only 46 years old.
Hmm.
And another friend of mine's, he just passed away, heart attack, 41 years old. And I know another colleague of mine's, Johnny, he just lost a friend who just happened to be 40 years old, heart attack. And of course, everyone knows who just recently passed, Kevin Samuels.
Hmm.
Kevin Samuels, 56 years old. You know, when you look at a guy like Kevin Samuels, you think he's healthy.
Hmm.
You think there's nothing wrong with him. But how can a guy in his stature actually die from a heart attack? And I think it's common amongst Black men that we tend to carry on a lot of weight, not just physically, but emotionally and mentally. And that
Yep.
takes a deep toll. So I actually invited my good friend Eric to actually join this conversation and really open the platform to anyone else who decides to join. That hey, this is the perfect time for us to talk about what's going on amongst Blacks, man. Why we're dying at an early age, and what can we do to prevent these health issues from getting worse.
Yep.
So, Eric, if you can take a moment to introduce yourself, and we'll start the conversation from there.
Thanks, Kanal. I appreciate the invite and welcome everyone. So I met Kanal probably almost going on 20 years ago.
Yeah.
We met the 100 Black Men in Chicago, a mentoring organization. They have large chapters all around the country, mentoring young Black males in economic development, academics, life, just stuff in general. And so with that, we really hit it off because we both had active lifestyles. We enjoyed life. We were about, being professionals and so forth. So let me tell you a little bit about me for the folks who don't know me. So my name is Chef Eric Paul. So I'm a classically trained chef. Went to culinary school at the Art Institute, finished around 2007, and opened up a healthy meal delivery service from 2007 to 2010 because I saw a lack of healthy food, smoothies, juicing places 15 years ago on the south side of Chicago, which has a large Black and brown population. So about five of my friends love the way I cook. They love that I cook healthy. And so if five people tell me that I need to open up some type of restaurant or meal service, that I'll eventually do it. Well, more than five did it. And so I launched a company called Alter Eat Go, EATGO, that provided healthy meals, breakfast, lunch, and dinner, and snacks to people for 7 days throughout the week. It was all fresh, cooked from scratch, and then I would deliver it to them the same day. They would eat the meals, over a couple days, and there was two deliveries a week. So I decided to, even though business was successful, it was definitely I was ahead of the curve, And so this was before Hello Fresh, Blue Apron. Once again, this was 15 minutes ago. There was no DoorDash, there was no Uber Eats, so I had to manage my own drivers. And so I eventually went to get my master's in nutrition at the University of Illinois Chicago, where I got my undergrad in information systems. And then that led me to become a registered dietitian. And so these are experts in nutrition. So I'm not the personal trainer who, nothing is personal trainers. I'm also a personal trainer who takes a 4 or 5 week course and now knows they're expert on nutrition, nor reading a book or a documentary. I had to go to school for 2.5 years, pretty much full time, a 1,200 hour internship, and then a licensing exam. And then every 5 years, I have to recertify my credentials through continuing education, most like most other health professions. So, dietitians are the people in the hospital who are the experts in nutrition. Most of the time, they know more than a doctor. Most doctors only take a couple courses in nutrition. So these are the folks that you see if you have heart disease, diabetes, renal disease, kidney disease, and so forth, or Crohn's disease, anything related to irritable bowel syndrome, or stuff related to those type of diseases. And so, to your particular point, I'll just hit on it, and then folks can feel free to. I think I can see the comments. Um, when you look at why are black men, why is the lifespan decreasing? Well, there's a couple things. We have access. So before, um, and when I say access, I mean access to some things in a bad way. So we can overindulge in alcohol. I've done it. I actually stopped drinking because my doctor was like, "Hey, what you do is consider binge drinking, and if you can outdrink most people, that means not you're not macho. That means you're scarring your liver. You're supposed to get drunk off, 1 to 2 ounces of alcohol every hour, where you're drinking 6 to 8, and you're just continuing to hammer it. So if you lead a healthy lifestyle and you want to live to 100, you might want to tone back on the drinking. And if you can't do that from a social aspect, you might want to cut it out in general. Smoking. So alcohol and smoking are two of the biggest things that will definitely drive it. Diet. 70% of diseases, chronic diseases, can be prevented through diet. You look at somebody like Kevin Samuels, even though he is not overweight or obese, you don't know what his plumbing looks like. If he's smoking, drinking, I don't know if he did any substances, if he's eating a high saturated diet, meaning a lot of animal protein or a lot of things in high and saturated fat, then his plumbing, his arteries could be. Some people, over 50% of people over the age of 50, have hypertension, many of whom go unchecked. I'm not a big fan of Western medicine always seeking to prescribe drugs to cure a problem, because you don't cause root problem. You could be taking high blood pressure medicine, but if you don't address your diet at the same time, you're doing yourself a disservice. The only thing you're going to do is you get older, you got to increase the dosages of your medication to be able to address the problem. But one of the main problems is, either being overweight or eating a diet that's bad in certain foods. And so you look at all those things, and you mentioned stress. Our grandmas used to say, stress will kill you. I used to be like, grandma has a lot of adages, but I don't believe that one. But actually, it's been shown that if you have it, constant, consistent cortisol levels, the fight, flight, or fight response is almost the same as your hormones are racing, and it actually causes, like, inflammation, and you're not supposed to be pumping cortisol through your blood, only in rare instances. So your adrenaline, all of these things should be at rest. But for most black men, it's stressful. You see somebody clutch a purse, or you're in an elevator, somebody's
Hmm.
scared, or cops pulling you over, or just another man, trying to size you up, beef. So those are things what we call social determinants of health in your environment. And then typically some, ethnic groups have lived in environments where there's an increase in environmental hazards, the soil, the water, the air. And so those are some other things, that lack of access to healthcare. And then the thing that we mentioned before folks got on is preventive health, is don't not being afraid to go to the hospital to get a checkup, being health literate and looking at your insurance, like the difference between an HMO and a PPO. Well, I learned when I started going to the hospital more about 10 or 15 years ago. It's like, oh, I can do my own referrals. So now I feel more comfortable having a black cardiologist, having a black podiatrist, having a black orthopedic surgeon. I mean, it just happened. I was doing CrossFit and I came back from Kenya and ripped my ACL, MCL, in my patella tendon. Went to Northwestern, which is a great hospital, but the doctor left me a voicemail and I didn't understand what he was talking about. And I've taken anatomy and physiology and medical terminology, and I couldn't understand what he was saying. I'm like, well, what do I do? Is it torn? Do I need surgery? I can't read the MRI. I mean, so I had a black orthopedic surgeon who also happened to play for the Chicago Bears, my favorite team. And he basically
Mhm.
said, no, you're wrong. This black doesn't mean that your tissue is dead. It means that there's blood flowing through. So he walked me through the MRI. He walked me through the x-ray. And he basically said, hey, there's a little bit of swelling now, but that'll go down. You have some good range of motion. You don't want me going in operating on your knee if you've never had any surgery on your knees or rotator cuffs. And he said it will heal, but these are things you have to do. But I've just found that I receive better care from people who look like me because I don't have to explain why I'm in the hospital, or they stereotype my diet, my daily activities. We can get right to, hey, how you doing, brother? How this, that, and the other. And then we can go right to, hey, I know you want to get back in the gym, so let's talk about that. So yeah, go
Let's
ahead.
talk about that a little bit in regards to like finding a doctor that kind of resembles you. I know that since I moved to Atlanta, Georgia, I make it a great effort to actually go see a black dentist, a black doctor. Just make sure that person is black and a male. I mean, no offense to the ladies, but I just feel like a man can relate what I'm going through as far as my health wise, and I could probably really have a one-to-one conversation with him. And one of the things that I've always done, like since I moved here, every year I do my annual screening, and I ask for the complete panel. Like I tell them, give me tests for every single thing that my insurance pay for. The things that my insurance can't pay for, I'll pay the difference.
Yeah.
And because I want to make sure, and now, when you met me, Eric, I was 26 years old, man. Now I'm 44. And I'm taking my health so serious to the point where it's like I'm literally lifting up every stone just to make sure I'm not missing anything. Even I even done my first ever what you call prostate check.
Hmm.
And again, yes, I'm 44 years old, but it's never too early to start, to start screening. So it's important, guys, that you make the time to go see the doctor, man. It's not, I'm not sure, what history you have with doctors or not, but guys, it's okay to go see a doctor and just test everything because again, it's better that you know than not knowing and you can't prevent anything else from getting worse.
Yeah.
And there's some few talking points that I actually highlighted I wanted to talk about and we could really have this conversation, especially with black men traveling. When we travel, we tend to binge. I mean, not too often. We're gone to another country, and you know what? Hey, I'm off from work. I'm away from no, there's no family. I'm surrounded by beautiful women. I'm free to do whatever I want. So we typically tend to binge. We binge what we eat. We binge what we drink. Things that we rarely consume. We consume extra. And one thing I do know is about myself, I have a bingy personality. So I could literally go 2 months, 3 months without drinking, Eric. But once I get on that plane, like I'm instantly at the airport already ordering a Long Island iced tea.
Hmm.
And then the thing is, my drinking doesn't stop until I get back on that plane heading back home. Then of
Hmm.
course I go cold turkey again. Then I start the binging all over again. And I noticed that I can't do that anymore at 44 versus when I was 34.
Yep.
And I think that a lot of guys we tend to just overindulge while we travel, especially in the states, because we constantly in the grind, which kind of leads our stress level. One thing I can share this with you, Eric. Back in 2015, I was going through my ordeal with the separation between my ex and I. And at the time, Eric, dude, I bloomed 340 pounds.
Mm.
And the reason why, because I fell into a depression. And with my depression, when I'm depressed, I tend to overeat.
Yep.
So when I'm stressed out, I eat. When I'm not stressed, I like to be outside, outdoors, moving around. But when I'm depressed, I just want to stay in the house. I close all the blinds. I'm constantly eating, and I love sweets, so cookies, cake, all the things that we're not supposed to eat. I'm eating that,
Right.
especially Chick-fil-A. I could literally go. Man, I think I was going to Chick-fil-A at least 3 times a day. So,
Wow.
and they got. And I remember one time I was climbing upstairs, going to the second floor, and I felt a sharp pain on my chest, like to my heart, like someone just took like a ice knife, like a pick stick or something, and
Right.
just stabbed me. Eric, I literally fell down to my knee and I just started sweating, like
Wow.
like sweating like I just ran a marathon type of sweat, and I couldn't move, and I was by myself. And it's like I just stood there and I'm like, what the hell's going on with me? Like, why I'm breathing so hard? And I was scared. And I called my sister. She's like, well, you need to go to the hospital. I said, no, I'll be all right. Us black men, I'll be all right. I'll be all right.
Right.
So I go upstairs, go lay in bed. And I woke up the next day and I realized, and I spoke to my sister. She said, did you go to the hospital? I said, no. She said, you should have gone because that was probably a precursor to a heart attack.
Right.
And Eric, I was 38. I think I was 38 at the time.
Right.
38 years old. And that's when I realized, like, you know what? I got to change something, man. I got to start changing my diet. I got to change the way I live. And I start taking steps, man. And the first thing I did, I went to go see the doctor, did a full panel, like, what's my current health? And one thing I did check was my hormones. Um, and it was just something that I had to check, and I was just afraid. I never told anyone until now because I was a little ashamed that I allowed myself to blow up to 340 pounds, and I said to myself, I'll never do that again. So since then, I've been very, very adamant about my workout. I don't care if I have to go take a walk. I'm gonna go ahead and do that. But the stress level, just managing stress, because when I'm stressed out, I don't do too well. So I try to keep my stress to the minimum. Go box, go walk, go do something active to let that stress out. And I think us as black men, we don't know how to handle stress, which kind of affects our health. And I think when we carry on too much, and of course we try to man up and not go see the doctor, and when we do go to the doctor, it's too late. We got stage
Right.
3 cancer, or our arteries are so clogged up that it's just a matter of time when I get that heart attack. So I mean, what are your take on that, Eric?
Yeah. So you brought up a lot. So let's first talk about, since this is Black Man Travels. Let's talk about activities when you're out of town,
Yes.
when you travel. So you have experiences. So I don't know if you remember my friend Reggie. He was alpha. He was, I think we were in our early 30s, and I think Reggie was in his mid 40s. Reggie had just started living life. He was a manager. He just got a convertible Mercedes. He had a house. He was entertaining. So we had went to Brazil the first time. I think this was 2002 or three. And of course, it's hot. Much more hot than it is in Chicago. And we were binge drinking. He also smoked cigars, and he happened to be overweight. So the first time he got a little sick. And then we said, oh well, he kind of blamed it on we were drinking a lot. The second time he got so sick that luckily one of the young ladies that was hanging around us was a nurse, and she
Mm,
was like, hey, he's dehydrated. He's been out in the sun too much. He's been drinking. He's been not drinking enough water. He's been eating the wrong stuff. He's been smoking. He's been doing all the things that will cause a shock to your body. And plus, she was nice about saying he needed to lose a little weight. We came back to the States. I think maybe 3 or 4 days later, he had a stroke. He had an aneurysm.
wow.
And that was it. I mean, he was just starting to live life. And when we talked about it, nobody really wanted to talk about it. And they were like, hey, I think the overexertion from the trip, you know, put too much stress on his system, because that's something that he wasn't normally doing. The heat, the drinking, the smoking, um, and not being in his normal routine. And so it was just too much. And so, great friend passed away. When you talk about, uh, it's funny, people talk about diet and physical activity a lot. My father used to always says The body will not go anywhere the mind has not been already. If you are not good upstairs, and your environment, the people that you're around, your job, your faith, it makes it tough to eat right. It makes it tough to go to the gym. It makes it tough to get the prevention health, because you're, as Drake would say, you're in your feelings, and in a not so good way. So I think with us, we have a stigma of not talking to our friends, or our friends giving us not bad advice. And I've been keen on saying, hey brother, that's outside of my lane. I think you need to go talk to someone about, your particular issue, whether it's divorce, whether it's you don't like your job, whether it's you don't have motivation, you don't want to see your kids grow up and have kids and be a grandfather, whatever it is, and most of us have within our insurance, like you said, knowing
Mm-hmm.
what your insurance can provide and what you need to pay for. Like a couple years ago, I used EAP to go do, 6 sessions of relationship counseling. I only got through two. Of course, that relationship didn't work out, but that's another story. And I was the one doing all of the counseling. I was like, how does this work? Um, and so so those things are underutilized because we've been taught that we're not crazy when we have problems, and you're crazy when you go to a therapist, and you need to be stronger and man up. You should need those services. But I think people, I'm not a psychologist, I'm not a social worker, but what I found was interesting is they tell you, when in my first couple sessions, he's like, I'm not the smartest guy in the world. I'm not going to solve your problems. But what I'm trained in is to ask you the right questions to help you solve and bring up information to help you solve your own problems. So that's what I'm a facilitator. I'm not a problem solver. So I'm trained to do that in a non biased, non confrontational way. That's what makes therapy so good. And I think people think someone is going to work on them versus, someone is going to work with them. And so until you've been around, until you can understand it, I think people have a lot of misconceptions about what, mental counseling, is all about. So yeah, all of those things, man, are important. And you talk about, most men don't think about disordered eating. We think about disordered eating when we were growing up because everybody wanted more muscles.
Yeah.
So we ate our parents out of house and home and protein shakes. We wanted more muscles. Then when we got older, the muscles started turning into fat, and so we like, man, what do we do with this? So we did our burgers, our fries, our beer, our ice cream. And you start watching the game and it's chips and popcorn and candy. You're like, yo, this is starting to be a routine. And if you only gain a half a pound every month for a
That's
couple
up.
years, that's 30, 40 pounds outside of your normal weight. And then your body begins to say there's a state called homeostasis, in which your body's normal function is used to. When you're out of that, each year you're out of that, your body, you're affecting your lifespan possibly in a negative way.
I totally agree. I noticed we have Bacchus and Big Will that joined us. Bacchus, you want to go ahead and share your experience and your thoughts on the topic?
I came in kind of late. Can you just break it down to me real quick? What
Yeah,
you?
I actually invited Eric Paul, Chef Eric Paul, to talk about, the preventive measures of black men health, especially black men traveling. We know that a lot of us black men, we tend to cross over a lot overseas while overseas. And I know you personally. I've seen your journey, your weight loss journey, and where you came from a year ago. So maybe you could probably share your thoughts and your experience in the matter. And I know that Bacchus has done an amazing job within the past year with his health, and I felt that he's a good guy to actually share his testimony.
Cool.
Well, you're most definitely right. What I did get from Eric, because we did lose somebody. He didn't even make it to 2022, and it was health reasons. Our homeboy James down in Brazil.
Yes,
So
yes, yes.
that's one thing you don't want to do is like your friend had that stuff 2 3 days after he came back. If he was down there by himself and decided to extend his trip, who knows what would have happened, right? So that's another thing to look at. But for me myself, I think at my heaviest I was 317, and it it was my job. I didn't know why, but at the time, but it was my job at the time. I was traveling 2 times a week. I was out of town. I was living out of hotels, living out of bag, working 12, 15-hour days, sleeping very little, eating whatever you could try to call healthy, living on the road. There's only so much Wendy's salad or whatever you could get. But yeah, I just blew up. But once I left that and I changed my life, I changed my lifestyle, I changed what I ate, I changed what I did. I got out more. I moved to a different place. I live close to the Beltline, so I walk that from time to time, or just get out moving more, eating better, sleeping, believe it or not, sleeping right, drinking a lot of water. I try to drink like a gallon a day minimum. That helps quite a bit. And yeah, at one point in time, I was seeing a doctor, and I did find out I had a low T. So I got on hormones. I need to get back on that. I was having too much blood. Surprisingly, yeah, I had to go once every couple of weeks to get blood taken out because my body was making too much. It's just you have to see doctors about not just the physical things. It's a lifestyle. It's not just, oh, I'm just gonna eat a salad every Friday and call it a day. No, it's a full-on lifestyle. Just like we have the lifestyle of being, avid travelers. That's what we do. You also need to be avid travelers that also eat healthy. Don't get me wrong. It's no problem to eat bad every now and then, but I'm not going all the way to Brazil for fries and burgers, fries and wings. I want to eat their local food. And as we know, eating local food outside of America most definitely is healthy. I spent 2 months in the Philippines, and I was drinking and partying and hanging out, and I was just doing all the worst shit, and I was still losing weight just because we walk everywhere. The food is much more healthier. Everything was just better for you. So you gotta, longevity. If you don't want to do it for yourself, you gotta do it for the people who love and care for you. You give them a couple more years with you and do the best. But yeah, I still got a little bit more to go. I kind of got lazy now. I got on this new job. I went from 317. I think now I'm at like 225. It's between 220 and 228, depending on what's happening. But yeah, most definitely health, knowing what's going on with you, taking the medicine, taking the pills the doctor give you, and keeping up, because we love it over there, but we don't want to pass over there. We dealt with, like I said, our friend James, his stuff. It was really hard to deal with that because he lived 3 countries. He lived in America, he lived in Colombia, and he was visiting Brazil. And the amount of red tape and BS and so much and money and all that we had to do was just not cool at all. And even in our group, we try to extend to let people know when you're going on trips, at least put in your group chat your emergency contacts. At least let somebody know, where you're staying, whatever. But most definitely, health is not just to be done when you're overseas. It's in preparation. I know Ken for a fact, before he goes to a trip, he goes in even harder because he knows he's not going to be going in as hard when he's there. So it kind of balances it out.
But Bacchus knows. He knows when he calls me, like, where you at? I'm walking, man. Like, normally before my travels, 30 days before my travel, I do 2 days for 30 days, man. Because I know when I get there, I'm gonna probably be lazy or whatever. But I try to like get my workout in, and I always go see the doctor before I leave. Hey, doctor, I'm good. Everything checked. You're fine. You're paranoid. Relax. Get on the plane. Enjoy yourself. So again, guys, Bacchus, I've known Bacchus for the past couple of years, and I was able to watch him through his weight loss journey. And I'll say it's a big effing difference. Big difference. I mean, the fact that we're in Cartagena, he's able to move around, walk around like more than us. It's like he's constantly on the go. We're like, man, we're tired. And he's like, no, we got to keep going. We got more stuff to see. And that's the way you want to move out while overseas. You don't want to be that lazy log that's just drinking and eating bad, because again, you don't know what other pre-existing health issues that you may have that you may not be aware of that may just decide, you know what, it's time for me to knock on the door. And that's something we noticed with our past friend James, other travelers who passed the past 5 years. And again, a lot of guys, we lost a lot of black men within the black men travel movement who died overseas, Dominican Republic, Colombia, Brazil. It seems like more guys are dying in Brazil than anything. And we need to actually be more proactive in how we take care of our health. And Eric was able to actually highlight those things. I know Big Will, you're on the call. I'm not sure if you wanted to chime in or anything.
Yeah, before you go, Kanal, we got something in the chat. We got
Okay. Oh, okay. Sorry, I didn't see that.
yeah, Backus, what did you do to lose weight?
Oh, I changed jobs, careers. I changed most definitely my job. Like I said, it was stressful. It had me traveling a lot, uh, flying all over the country, staying out of hotels, eating bad food, 15-hour days, not enough sleep, stress in general. So I quit that job and I just got a regular 9 to 5 job where I woke up every day at the same time. Routine,
Okay.
boring ass routine with better choices. Salads for breakfast. Oatmeal for breakfast. Walk or gym. Go work out. Cardio. A lot of cardio. Drink a lot of water. Watch what you eat and the portion size. I got into grazing where whatever meal I had in front of me, I'll cut it right down the middle and I'll only eat half, even if I was still hungry. And then I'll save the other half for later. I had to force myself not to eat a bad food. I got a wicked sweet tooth. After I eat, I need something sweet. So I realized natural sugars was better. So I'll have like a half of apple. Granny Smiths are my favorite, or grapefruit. And yeah, just everything we know already. Just more greens, more vegetables, less processed. Got a Foreman grill. Throw some stuff on there. Got a cookbook. Just different stuff. Meal prepping is great because when you're hungry, you too hungry to cook, and you just like throw some trash in the oven or go to Popeyes or whatever. If you meal prep and you hungry, all right, cool. I got these things in here I can just eat right now, etc. So it's a whole change in general, and just getting out and being more active got my fat ass off the couch, like straight up. I watch a lot of TV, so now I put it on my tablet. When I'm at the gym, I'll just put it on there and just whatever show I'm into, just walk and do it. Right? You're still watching it. Put your mind someplace. So it was a lot of that. It's just a lot, just being more active and making better choices. All in all, kind of got away from a little bit. Now I got a little sexy. Summertime. I got to get back on it. Got to get these abs in there and see what I can do. Stop laughing at me, Will. I'm sexy, boy. I'm sexy.
All right, all right. Well, thanks for the question, Charles, and thanks for the lifestyle advice. Back is in with Big Will. You're on mute, bruh.
You mute, Will.
You're mute. Can't hear you.
Will, you mute your mic.
Okay,
there you go.
Now?
Yeah, I got you.
I'm gonna get it together one of these days. Brothers, what's going on? What's going on? I have to chime in because I promised my boy Kilo I would definitely support him in everything he does. I want to go. We're going all the way back to I believe we first met back in Brazil when we was with Charles, back with Charles, and I was actually there too. I remember the other day you was talking on, I believe it was a video where you were saying, I was with that group when Charles was there when he died. So that really devastated me. It was me, because me and Charles, we were starting to get real tight. I had known him for like 2 years. He kind of drew me in because me and him started communicating because I've been a world traveler, since my military days, going back and forth. And his passing really rocked me. And I want to definitely touch on something that Chef said. I mean, that was so powerful. He was reading my cards to me. I was getting ready, chime in, be like, "Yo, bro, start reading my cards, man." So, because he said something that was real profane, when talking about, I was one of the big boys. That's where I actually got my name from, Big Will back in the military. I was the Buff McDuff, benching, 350, 400 pounds, getting swole, for the military and the ladies and all that good stuff. But then later in my years, the metabolism starts slowing down, life starts coming at you, you getting stressed. So yeah, all that Buff McDuff and sexiness turned to fluff. So I almost made the Fluffy Will. So so because and it's funny too because sometimes I eat right and then sometimes I don't. Like just like B touched on, just on the go all the time, living in hotels. You're traveling, you're trying to do the right thing, but it's just hard because number one, if you're traveling, especially if you're doing stateside, because I have to do a lot of stuff stateside for my job, where healthy food is expensive as hell. So it's hard to eat well here in the United States, while you're living here. Now, if you're living abroad, it's a huge difference. And I remember me and Charles was talking about, that was one of our last conversations we had, where every time he left Philly and came to Brazil, he noticed a huge difference in his health, where it started to change, because their regular food is not, full of preservatives and all the chemicals that we put in our food here in the States. So eating healthy is more feasible, living abroad. So after he passed, I started kind of doing, I was up and down. I was up and down. 1 minute I'm trying to get healthy, next minute I'm fluffing up again, because your life is so busy. And I remember we were talking about chest pains. One time I remember I had some chest pains. I was like, yo, am I having a heart attack? I'm like, I'm too young to be having a heart attack. So I remember I went to the doctor, got my blood checked. They did EKGs, and my doctor was like, no, you're healthy. You have great blood. Your blood pressure is good. I'm like, so what's going on? So after some more tests, and she was like, my doctors were like, no, you are healthy. You got great blood, your white cells, all this, EKGs are good to go. So my doctor, I'm like perplexed, like, so what's going on? So my doctor, she actually grabbed me, I had this little Indian woman, grab me by the face. She's like, you're stressing. Stop stressing. You are going to kill yourself if you don't stop stressing. But it's so hard, especially when you're a man, you got kids, you got responsibilities, you got people to take care of. But you have to learn how to unwind and stop taking on everything. And that was one of my big problems with with stress, because that's when I was finding out that stress can kill you. So you can eat all you want, you can eat all the great food, you can vitamins, go walking, drink all the water you want. But if you're still stressing over life, that stress will kill you. And I actually know 4 or 5 people where they were at, excellent health, great diets, but they still dropped dead because of stress. So I definitely want to, emphasize that to the brothers, hey, life is hard, but, stop stressing over things, learn how to let go, learn how to unwind, learn how to, if you can't go to the gym, go for a walk, talk on the phone, get help, call the brothers up, call somebody, call mom or dad or somebody, make, get that stress off your body, because man, that stress will absolutely kill you. So that's what I've been trying to get on lately, because I was always stressing over my kids, baby mama drama, my ex-wife, always want more money, wants me to do this for the kids. Now I got girls in college and graduating this and wanting cars and all this good stuff. So you stress over stuff like that, but you gotta learn how to let, just kind of take a deep breath, kind of release it, like, what, is what's going to be. I did my best, and just don't let that stuff, like I said, sit on you, because that stress will absolutely just destroy your whole body.
Big
So,
Will,
yes, sir.
that's something that I deal with. I don't handle stress well.
Mhm.
Someone who's been part of the corporate rat race for so long and more in the leadership role.
Absolutely.
Of course, as a black man in corporate America, you already feel the pressure,
Yes.
of overperforming, and of course, you got outside issues happening. So for me, handling stress has always been a big thing. Even now, I still have a hard time dealing
Yep.
with stress.
So do I.
Um, and then again, I'm gonna pass it on to Eric, but before I do, I want to share something with everyone.
Mhm.
This is back in 2020. This is the heart of the pandemic. Granted, I had a decent job, making easy over 6 figures. I mean,
Mhm.
easy. But I was stressed out
Yep.
every day,
Yep.
and I remember every Sunday night I could not go to sleep. When I
Yep.
did fall asleep, I slept for about an hour or two,
Yep.
and I'll always wake up with a migraine on every Monday. I had a migraine.
Absolutely.
Then one day I went to sleep. It was a Wednesday night. I went to sleep. I woke up Thursday with an anxiety attack. I woke up like just with a panic attack. Like I was like,
Yep.
like literally, it's like again, and I
Yep.
knew it was the
Yep.
job.
Yep.
So that Friday, that same week, I sat in my car for 2 hours in the morning,
Mhm.
and I was like contemplating, like I can't do this anymore. I can't walk into that door anymore. And I literally took my phone out. started typing to my boss, and I wrote I resigned.
Whoa.
I resigned. It's like I couldn't do any more. Bacchus was there, and that's when I was going through like, hey, I need to get the equipment for my drone and camera. That's time back because I was buying all the camera gear and everything else.
Mhm.
And it got to the point I was so burnt out that man, it was taking me back to 2015 again. What I felt in 2015 about feeling that sharp pain in my chest again. And again, granted, I was in good shape now in 2020.
Mhm.
So, but I knew it was stress. And as I sent that email to my boss, I guess I was part of the great resignation. That's what the whole thing started. Everyone started quitting their jobs and because they were too stressed out or whatever. And I didn't know that was going to be a trend because I remember I did it in October of 2020. And for the next 4 months, I traveled. I was in the yard. I was in Colombia with Bacchus. That's when we went to Bogota. We went to Medellin, Cali, and Cartagena that year. And the thing is handling stress, and something I want to pass it over to Eric. What is your recommendation and how people should handle stress moving forward?
I was on mute. Sorry. So once again, I like to stay in my lane. So I'm a fitness guy and nutrition guy. However, I think everyone, a lot of people have lived experience. So what I've seen is you guys mentioned it. You change your circumstance. Bacchus, changed his job. So he changed his physical circumstance, being on the road, working long hours. His sleep, you need to sleep to reset your hormones. And we're talking about deep sleep. I'm not talking about you waking up every hour, hour and a half, because black men don't have the right counts. We don't have Egyptian, cotton for sheets and all of the other stuff, or we don't want to pay for AC or whatever. So sleep is very important, and then emotional eating. So one is look at. So the other thing is we talk about working out. So working out helps prepare your body for physical stress. Walking, the heat, um, getting upset, your blood pressure rising, being able to go back down. The other piece of it is developing what people call coping mechanisms, and then understanding your triggers. Like for me now, you mentioned something really important. Like I just started at a new job in the startup. I feel like the my white brethren are like not talking to me, or they're going around me, and I'm like, yo, is it me or is this happening? And then finally, I said, you know what? I'm not going to stress on that. I can't control that. I'm going to try to get to know them, and hopefully they try to get to know me. I'm going to prove that I have value at my company. I'm going to do all these particular things. And then at the end of the day, if they say, hey, you're not a good fit, then it ain't because I don't have the skills. It ain't because I'm not, working hard. It's because it's people think diversity is all about black, white, male, female, or how you identify. It's about, you got to fit in with the old guard, or the boys. And so I just said, if for whatever reason I didn't really like my job with the government, it was really cushy. This job has really pushed me in a good way. And then if it doesn't happen, I'm already coming up with a plan B and C. I'm like, I'm a day trade. So my boy got me learning Forex, for example. So I'm like thinking like all these contingencies. So before, if they say, hey, Eric, it's not a good fit, I've already mentally prepared for that day and said, you know what? Oh, okay, it's gonna be like that. That's cool. And then have a plan B, and like, what you gonna do? Well, first of all, you don't care what I'm gonna do. Second of all, I'm gonna go day trade and be wealthier than any job you could have given. So I'm mentally preparing a couple steps ahead for any particular stressors that might happen in my life. And I think the other piece is surrounding myself with good people that I can talk to. Nothing wrong with depression, but if I hung around, you know, 10 people and that's my circle that are depressed or always negative, it's going to be hard for me to handle stress because they're providing stress. Um, and so my parents are, at 52 years, they're thinking about getting divorced because I found out I got twin sisters who are 50 years old. I'm like, wait a minute, they younger than me. And so I'm like, okay, dad, mom, don't talk to me about each other. Talk to me about how I can support you. And they're like, wow, that's great. Because that was stressing me out. And I'm like, I see it stressing you out, but you're bringing this energy to me, and I'm going to take that on. And so, especially with my mom, and I'm like, Mom, I will support you in any way you can, but don't talk about, don't talk to me about dad. What he did was foul 50 something odd years ago. I mean, I'm not in your shoes. I can't tell you to live with it. And I can't imagine what it'd be like for 53 years you've been married to someone and you're like, oh my God, I just shouldn't have done that. I'm like, wow, that's a long time for me to say I shouldn't have been here. And so I'm like, okay, now I know what not to do, but I'm grown enough to know to say, hey, think about your remaining years, how you want to live that. I'm not going to judge either one of you. I'm here to support both of you. I feel some type of way, about what my dad did way back when. But and so I'm really getting into a comfort zone with wisdom to say, hey, don't bring that energy to me. Or if it's negative energy, how can I turn that around to be positive? Like me, I feel like I'm in Groundhog Day in Chicago and I've been back home for 20 years. So I'm moving, like to a warmer climate, to a different environment. And because I have a 100% remote job, and people are like, how can you do that? I'm like, how can I not? I'm single, no kids, and I'm not married, and I can live wherever I want to. My crypto was great last year, so I have no debt. I'm like, change my circumstances instead of complaining about Chicago that I'm dating the same chick 3 times over. Groundhog Day and the party suck. You know, change your environment. Change your outlook. So if you can't change your environment, you definitely need to change your outlook. Can't change your outlook, you need to change the people you're around. I mean, is it change your daily routine? It's change. We're creatures of comfort. Other than working out at the gym every day and doing your smoothies in the morning, eating your oatmeal, like Baka said, we need to think about change. Creates new growth, cell growth. Our cells are regenerating every couple hours. Some of our cells in our body because they die and they have to be replenished. And so we need to think about um, not letting ourselves slowly die, what people call a slow death, doing the same thing over and over again and expecting a different result. So I'm gonna stop talking because Bach is just yawn. And I guess I'm talking too much. And so, but no, so I'm gonna stop there. And if folks feel free to put questions in the chat for any one of us, because
Yeah,
you
I
know,
agree.
every brother has great lived experience that they can share. And if any brothers on the call have anything they would like to add, just let us know. Put it in the chat and ping Kanal.
Yeah, definitely. And again, guys, it goes back to like finding your purpose, but yet living long enough to enjoy it. Kevin Samuel started an amazing movement. Too bad he won't be able to see it, follow through it. But guys, as you continue to live your best life, after 40, because all of us on this platform is after are 40 years old and older, um, start taking more proactive with your health. Like, and when I mean your health, I'm not just speaking about your physical health, but also your mental health. Mental health is a key component of our lives because again, the stress level will kill you. And I think Kevin Samuel died from stress. I think he somehow we're just overdoing it. And I think a lot of us do that a lot. And we tend to be that utility that always keep pushing. I don't got time. I got to stay grinding. I got to grind. And I think this grinding culture is killing us. And it's just like then we go overseas, then we start indulging, and of course, some of us taking them blue pills on the street. I see those vendors. I see them. I see them. Oh yeah, they selling them blue pills, and you guys are buying these blue pills, not knowing what the source, what the source is. So, guys, I mean, if you don't take the blue pill in the state, why are you gonna go overseas and take the blue pill there in that particular country? And again, you got health issues. Reason why your stick can't rise up, maybe because your testosterone level is low. Go see the doctor. And that's the thing is like we need to stop this fear mongering of going to see the doctor with this conspiracy thing that they're gonna use your blood for something. Go see the doctor. Go take care of yourself. You got insurance. You paying for insurance. Your company pays for it. You might as well just go ahead and use it. And Eric, I actually went to go see a dietitian
Oh wow.
Not a dietitian, a nutritionist. It was part of
Uh-huh.
my insurance plan.
Right.
I'm like, yo, I never used this before. Let me use it. And guess what? For 2 hours, I actually learned something. I learned about nutrition.
Right.
And as far as like what the size of the meat should be based on the size of your hand, and not your full hand, but the palm of your hand.
Mm-hmm.
And it's just like, the number of times you should eat, what type of vegetables and whatever. I learned that. Before I didn't know that. I was just following other YouTubers. Most of those YouTubers don't know what the hell they're talking about.
Right.
So,
Right.
so by me actually going to see a certified nutritionist, she kind of gave me a plan to follow, and I've been following that. I'm actually paying for. Now I'm boxing. I actually do full time boxing where I'm actually sparring, and I pay for a personal one-on-one trainer. Yes, it costs money, but guess what? I feel great when I'm walking around. I feel good, and I ain't gonna lie, my chest is kind of up. Like, hey, I wish a nigga would. They're like, man, I
Right.
got. But I'm just saying, it's just like invest in your health, invest in yourself, because the thing is, there's more to life from your job. Because if you're trying to see the world, you're trying to see these countries, you're trying to see these, see these particular beautiful women, you got to put yourself in a position to do that physically and mentally. So don't
Right.
be thinking that you could just go to work and just grind out and get on that plane and just grind out over there. Dude, you're gonna end up getting a heart attack. Something bad is gonna happen to you. So, and that's the reason why I wanted to talk about this, because when it comes to black man traveling, we're all talking about parties, turn up, getting lit. But we know at our age, a lot of us tend to kick the bucket when we do it too hard. And it's important that we make sure that before we do any of these type of activity, we have some type of level of moderation of our lifestyle, but also go see the doctor. And we're close to the hour, so I guess, are there any more questions? Okay, I guess not. So I guess I want to close out, because again, I wanted to keep this within an hour, and I appreciate you guys joining the call. I'll give you guys a minute to say your point before we close. And look forward to having more of these conversations. My goal is to create a health series. So this is the first one, talks about nutrition and fitness, but also like more about mental health coming soon. And also I'm looking for inviting other specialists to come in and talk to brothers, and so guys can know what we could do to better take care of ourselves. So with that being said, Bacchus, you want to say your last closing
Um,
statement?
gotta realize, like y'all said, we all over 40. We ain't 20 no more, man. Stop trying to run around here like you are. You gotta act your age, roll your age. You can't chase these. Now, I have a saying. I got 20 years experience of being 20 years old. It's time for me to grow the hell up. So I'm gonna be the old man on the porch with a rocking chair, sipping that henny, and a fine young thing. So that's me. But yeah, keep up. You don't have to stay up late or be out all day, all night like you was when you were younger. Just move. Just gotta move different, feel better, and yeah, most definitely, modern medicine has come a long way to give us our strength, our stamina back. Gym workout routine. Switch up the vegetables you eat. You say eating the same thing over and over, you do get bored. Your body gets complacent. Keep constantly changing. Different things, especially for the seasons and whatnot. And yeah, most definitely, we try to find the fountain of youth and just live easy. That's my 2 cents.
Thank you, Bacchus. Big Will.
I just want to just wrap up this great conversation. Um, One thing I had to learn over the years is don't be afraid to reach out, tap your resources. Do not sit in your own self, in your own heads, thinking I'm by myself, nobody care about me. I'm doing this all by myself. Nobody understands me. There's plenty of brothers who are going through something either the similar or the exact same thing you're going through. And it's not belittling of a man or unbecoming of a man to ask for help. Reach out to other brothers, because somebody, if you talk to enough people, somebody, especially in this group, has gone through what you've gone through or they're going through with it. And then you guys need to connect, get your support, and just rely on one another, because we're not designed to be, to do everything by ourselves.
I
Somebody
agree.
is there to help you, pat you on the back and say, hey, brother, you can make it. And sometimes we just got to remind each other of that. So For you brothers that's in this call, and for any brothers who watch this cast later on, I'm telling you, do not be afraid to reach out to one another. Yeah,
Thank
that's
you,
what I
Big
want.
Will.
All right.
Mr. Chef Eric Paul.
Yeah, man. Thanks, man. This was great. So I probably should have said in the beginning, but all my healthcare friends say know your numbers. So you talked about preventive health. What to know your numbers? You know, there's tests for prostate, there's tests for kidney function, there's tests for blood pressure, there's tests for good cholesterol, bad cholesterol, triglycerides, which are fats going around in your arteries. If you know that, then you can probably it's a good predictor of whether or not you're going to form plaque in your arteries, to increase your blood pressure, and then increase your risk for stroke. So really knowing your numbers and working with your doctors to understand what each of those numbers mean. They do, they can do blood panels, they can do all different type of tests. At some point, you need to know what healthy ranges are for those particular numbers. You need to know what your A1C is, which is a predictor of, diabetes. So go, work with your doctor, learn what's available in your insurance, make an investment if it's not part of your insurance, know the healthy ranges, get them checked often, outside of just your weight and your blood pressure, which things people normally check, and and take advantage of that. So definitely know your numbers. That gives you data, hardcore numbers for you to be able to make better decisions on where you need to adjust your lifestyle. So know your numbers.
Thank you, Eric.
Yep.
And again, guys, we're gonna have more of these health series. Definitely, this is the first of many to come. And I really want to bring this conversation to the forefront because as Black men, we don't want to talk about our health, and we always feel like we could just just push it through it. But I think just pushing through it is not good enough, and I think we need to do more, take preventive measures and taking care of ourselves. Because I really do want to see you guys live your best lives, and I'm tired of hearing guys within our age group, 40s, late 30s, 50s, dying from something that could have easily been prevented. So more to come. And again, we're gonna have more of these health series. Definitely, I'm gonna invite Eric back into this conversation again just to talk about mental health and fitness and nutrition. But also, I'm gonna be looking for other specialists as well to actually chime in the conversation. And again, everything revolves around Black men traveling. So we all travel, we all enjoying ourselves, but also I want to see you guys live. And rest in peace to Kevin Samuels. And just want to say thank you to each of you for making this podcast for what it is. This is the third one. And my goal is to actually have a cadence, maybe every Wednesday and Saturdays. And we're gonna have some real man conversations, not what goes on chasing after the punani or whatever. We're gonna have some real conversation about Black men issues, remote life, expat, businesses, investing, even relationship. I know a lot of guys do want to get married and have relationship, bona fide relationship. We want to talk about that. So more to come. Just want to say thank you so much for attending, and guys have a good night. So thank you.
All right, thanks everyone. Yep.